The ANA US Coin Signature Auction hosted by Heritage managed to raise an eye-watering $51 million for less than 2,000 coins on offer. The story of the 1808 Quarter Eagle is really the story of a denomination that never truly found a home. When the Mint introduced a new bust design that year, they struck just one batch of Quarter Eagles, 2,710 pieces, and then the denomination effectively vanished for 13 years. The coin was just awkward, too small for bank transfers, too large for daily life, not wanted in commerce, not needed in trade. So the public largely ignored it, and the Mint quietly stopped making them, leading to this one-year type coin, of which only around 125 to 150 survive today. This stunning example was graded by NGC as MS63 and sold at auction for a noteworthy $384,000. When the Mint switched to the new close collar striking method in 1829, only a tiny batch of these smaller, sharper 1829 small date half-eagle coins were produced. For decades, collectors weren't even sure if the small date even existed. Dealers during the 19th century called it the beginning of the new type, and for years it ranked just behind the legendary 1815 and 1822 as one of the greatest half-eagle rarities. Today, we are able to trace 10 examples of the coin, including this MS61 graded example from PCGS that was sold at auction for $336,000. The Mint was only weeks into its life when the hub for the chain cent broke, forcing an emergency switch to the new reef design, which may have been a blessing in disguise as the chain's design proved quite unpopular at the time. Everything in 1793 was done by hand, in a panic mode with equipment that barely functioned. But through it all, this remarkable coin made it through somehow unscathed. Graded as MS67 brown, it is the finest known S8 variety with the vine and bars edge that managed to raise no less than $396,000 at auction. The 1887 is one of just 3 proof-only dates in the entire Liberty Head Double Eagle series, and although it's the most available of the trio, it's still exceptionally rare. The best estimates place surviving examples at just 30 to 40 coins today, with only 25 PCGS submissions and 10 noted at NGC. Very few reached this level of quality. PCGS has given the Proof 66 Deep Cameo grade only one other time, and NGC just once as well, with a single finer coin known. This example was offered at auction, where it sold for $396,000. Proof gold from the 1890s represent, I would say, the peak of mint artistry for the era, and this 1897 is a superb example of that. Its inky black mirrors and razor-sharp wheat gold devices show the kind of contrast collectors only dream of, with virtually flawless details across both sides. The proof mintage for the year remains somewhat of a mystery, long published as 86 coins, but original mint records suggest only 71 were struck, with around 30 to 40 survivors today. All were produced from a single die marriage. This Proof 66 Deep Cameo coin from PCGS was sold for $432,000 by final call. Struck at the depths of the Great Depression, the 1931 D was never needed in circulation and almost never left treasury vaults. Although 106,500 coins were in fact minted, nearly the entire run of these gold $20 coins were held as backing for gold certificates and then subsequently melted into ingots after the gold recall of 1933. Today, only 125 coins are believed to have survived in all grades, making the 1931 D one of the top absolute and conditional rarities in the entire Saint-Gaudens series. This exquisite example of the exceedingly rare type was graded by PCGS as MS66 and at auction secured a final price of $504,000. The 1907 rolled rim Indian head eagle is the first of its type to be produced for wide circulation, with a mintage of 31,500 coins actually being struck. The only problem is that none of those coins ever made it into circulation. It has been aptly described as one of the most coveted issues in the entire series, as the dawn of the Saint-Gaudens renaissance of US coins. But all of those coins, except for 50 examples, were melted down by the mint, and today even fewer still remain extant. This example, graded by CACG as MS65 Plus, was sold at auction for $516,000. The 1800 cap-bust right eagle is one of the most desirable early US gold coins. Scarce in mint state, almost never encountered with specimen surfaces, NGC has certified only 2 specimens for the date, and this SP66 example is the finest of them all, with PCGS showing none in the specimen designation. Planchet striations in the reverse, dentals, and the shield only add to the mint character, but the eye appeal is unmistakably elite. This exceptional coin was sold at auction for a total sum of $576,000. The 1927 Saint-Gaudens Double Eagle is another noteworthy rarity in the series, especially in gem grades. Despite an initial mintage of 3.1 million coins, today fewer than 300 are thought to have survived the ravages of both time and the melting pots of the 1933 gold recall. This unmatched coin is the Pogue example, the sole finest coin known, displaying thick, glowing mint frost, rich reddish gold coloring, and a razor-sharp strike. At auction, it was sold for no less than $690,000. Now this is California Gold Rush currency at its boldest. A massive $50 slug struck during the brief but chaotic window when the US Assay office tried to keep commerce alive after Congress suddenly banned all sub-900 finest gold for customs payments. Only 13,800 of these pieces were made in January and another 10,000 in February of 1853 of this specific K14 type, despite its older 1852 date. Tradition holds that this example may have been set aside by assayer Augustus Humbert himself, today graded by PCGS as MS64, tied for the finest certified. It sold at auction for $690,000. This is a monster of a rarity. A nearly 400-ounce gold ingot from the San Francisco Mint, and the first example of its weight class ever to appear at public auction. Now, the Mint produced many 400-ounce bars during the gold recall and refinery years after 1933, but almost all remained in government vaults, like Fort Knox, for example. This piece carries the earlier Type 2 oval hallmark with the vertical stamp layout, a style that has long since believed to have ended in 1950, until now that is. The date on the end of this bar reads 1951, pushing known production a year further and making this the highest numbered bar of its type known, stamped as number 98. When the auctioneer's gavel fell, it sold for $1,326,000. Despite the fact that 528,500 Saint-Gaudens double eagles were struck in 1921, it would seem that practically none of those made their way into circulation, and since there was little demand for large gold in the slowing economy of those years, most were simply stored in treasury vaults. And then all of those coins were melted during the gold recall of 1933, leaving precious few examples surviving for collectors today. Only 2 coins are graded as MS66, the Eliasberg specimen, and the present Ducor Goddard coin. At auction, it was able to secure a final price of $1,560,000. Subscribe to WNN and feel free to watch another video about exciting US coins right here. Next. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, keep collecting, and have a fantastic day.